Hello, everybody. Thank you so very much for being here and clicking on. Um, don't know where that came from. Good evening. It is the last day of May, tomorrow being June the 1st, 9:02 p.m. And welcome again. Last night I was going to do a totally different show, but something happened. I was planning on reading a portion of my book last night that I felt might be relevant, and the jury came back with guilty on all 34 felony counts in the criminal trial in New York, state trial, against Donald J. Trump, Donald J. Trump. Hi, not going away. Fred, has there been any crazy nonsense yet? There's a lot of talk of crazy nonsense, which I'm going to be covering here soon. Chris is going to be joining us, by the way. I'm not exactly sure. I can't answer that, Fred. There was a going on in Minneapolis, Minnesota yesterday. I still have not heard motive for that, despite the fact that the shooter was apprehended. There was a guy outside the state house in Madison, Wisconsin, their state capital, where very near to where the governor raised a gay pride flag to signify Pride Month beginning on June 1st. As I said today, the last day of May. June 1st falling on a Saturday, he was going to raise the pride flag. And the guy was caught with a shotgun, and the t-shirt he was wearing was saying, "Death to Feminism." So I don't know how we interpret that. There's a lot of talk, and we'll get to the talk coming up. Yes, Chris is knowledgeable, and yes, we do. We greatly appreciate the information that he brings. Hi, Nancy McMonarch. Hello, everybody. Thank you. Feel free to hop in the chat. And actually, I'm going to start off tonight. While we wait for Chris, I've got her, and hopefully, if you're if you're on the Trump train, hopefully you can laugh along. But we're going to begin tonight with Trey Crowder. This came out 3 hours ago. Let's start.
As I live and breathe, Trump found guilty. I feel like I just met a Martian or want to argue with my wife. I'm thrilled, but can it really be so? A rich country? Be still. My heart. Not everyone feels the same way. Right now, our country's worst and dimmest are out there hollering. Like, this means if they can do this to a president, they can do it to anybody, right? Yeah. No, actually, that's kind of the whole point, because the laws are supposed to work. That's what we were worried about. Anyway, you'll figure it out. Bless their hearts, man. Y'all watch out for your MAGA friends and family right now. They're really flailing after this. They're doing that thing they were doing when he first got indicted, where they're like claiming through gritted teeth and teary eyes that they're thrilled at this outcome. They're like, wearing great. I'm happier. You know what? Trump all the way to the top. I've been getting texts all day. People are like, I didn't know who I was going to vote for, but now I know Trump for sure. You know what? You just gave us the whole black vote. They love crime. I hope you're happy, because I'm happy. I'm so happy. Like, really just going to put Trump over the top? Who are all these mythical, moderate, undecided voters who have been out there calmly weighing the competing fiscal, domestic, and foreign policies of these two candidates? But now they're like, well, I didn't know for sure, but now that Trump has been found guilty by a jury of his peers on 34 counts of felonious dirtbaggery, that locks it in for me. I think this is going to move the needle in either direction too much. I think most people know where they're at on Trump, but I still love this because, A, just on principle, but B, I love this because I love anything that so clearly highlights the egregious nature of their hypocrisy. Right now, we have the lock her up law and order contingent bending over backwards to justify why they think the next president of the United States should be a convicted felon. A convicted felon, perhaps their most hated class of human being, by the way. As someone with felons in their family, I can tell you these look on convicted felons has been that they are worthless, lazy, scary, dangerous. The context of their transgression is completely irrelevant from the moment it occurs. There's no pass and go, no $200 straight to jail, straight into the trash can forevermore, no path to redemption, no road to rehabilitation. You have proven yourself unfit to serve in this society until the end of time. That has been their outlook on convicted felons until now. Now, convicted felon is the most admirable. These people are out here making arguments with a straight face that though Trump could not pass a background check to be a custodian in a middle school, he should be given back the keys to the White House. That though Trump cannot vote for himself, he should be picking the most highly powered justices in the land. That though Trump cannot legally own a gun, he should have the nuclear codes. They're making these arguments with a straight face, and if you were to point out that hypocrisy to them, their response would probably be, yeah, but all those other felons were like poor and brown, so it's pretty different. All pride, no shame. What more needs to be said? Love y'all.
So to begin our night with a little humor, as he said, some people may not agree, but let's get Chris up here and say hello. Chris, how's it going, man?
How are you, and how's the audience?
I'm doing well, and I think the audience is doing well. I glanced over here real quick. Senators and Republican representatives have gone crazy. I'm not sure what's happened down in Alabama, but it's Alabama, so I'm not surprised things are going crazy down there. What do you know? Anything new? Anything good?
Nothing new, but what I'm seeing on the internet is an uptick in, I guess, Trump supporters
Yeah.
with the guns, and they're talking, it's time. We can't put up with this much longer. They're like, for the longest, there hasn't been that, just until the conviction. Then they start coming out. I've seen like multiple videos today. It's just gonna progress. It's gonna crescendo. So expect to see some crazy stuff to happen here very soon. Well, not soon, but something's gonna happen.
Let me hop back over here to the bookmarks real quick. I touched on this kind of opening up that this happened today in Man with a Shotgun, Feminism. Okay, feminism is cancer. It wasn't death to feminism. It's feminism is cancer. Shirt spotted outside the Capitol near where Governor Evers is getting ready to raise the LGBTQ plus pride flag. Let me find it here. Some of the stuff I've been hearing when we spoke on the phone. Some of it is really concerning, and let me get down here. Okay, they're talking about a radicalized merge. They're trying to radicalize, merge, and mobilize QAnon, MAGA, and quote-unquote Christian nationalists into a single enraged death cult prepared for violence. with the focus on Mike Flynn as the quote-unquote general and Trump as a martyr. Chris, have you been, you said you've been hearing it chatter, and I've gotten some reports of the same. Have you heard anything about them talking about Trump as a martyr?
I have not heard that yet.
Okay.
Not yet. Well, hang on. Let me take that back. I think on Alex Jones or someone, I think it was Alex Jones. They had actually spoken about that, about Trump actually becoming a martyr. So I kind of heard that today.
So I think I think we'll hear it more and more. I think they're going to try to get people used to the term, because normally when we hear martyr here in the West, I may be whatever, naive, whatever, but I think in the West, when we hear martyr, we think of extremist.
Right.
And if this is true, that this is going to be a Christo-fascist, a Christo-national, if there's going to be at least a segment of that, what's the difference between that religious extremism and Islamic religious extremism? It's just the one main primary difference is they're both saying God. One has Jesus involved, and I don't think Jesus would support any of the things that these people have convinced themselves are the right things to do.
I don't think so either. So I mean, like I said, religion is a very dangerous thing. Okay.
And we're seeing that now, I think.
Right. So, and I told you I don't believe in organized religion as is. And I think I told the audience the reasons why. Just for the simple fact I've lived all over the world, and the things that the profession that I'm in, I deal with different groups of, people and religious beliefs. And I think I asked you one time, Barry, I said about, like how the Christians in Nigeria are, um, should we say they're not violent at all. Actually, they're very peaceful, and they're pacifists, right? They're not really
Mm-hmm.
trying to fight or anything like that. When they get attacked by like Muslim groups, or they don't really fight back, right? But here's the here in the United States, you have this, you see, was it white Christian nationalism and all this other stuff, and they espouse the violence. Okay, even though, hear me out, it's the same Bible, the same word. So how is it that one group is violent or non-violent and the other group is violent, even though it's the same word? Explain that to me.
I can't.
Exactly. So I
Yeah.
kind of stay away from the whole religion thing, because because religions are man-made, you see, and because of that, people like to use religious figures, deities, to control the masses, you see,
Mm-hmm.
to make them do whatever their agenda is, especially if they don't have brains, you see. And the same thing goes on to Islam as well. Okay. So, and actually all religions.
I was going to say, couldn't we really say the same thing is going on with Judaism,
All
with
all
the
religions.
you know uh,
Yeah, all religions vary. They will taint, the word of God, or whoever their religious icon is, to suit their needs. You see,
mm-hmm.
for their agenda. So therefore, and like I said, because I've traveled so much and lived in different countries, I don't believe in organized religion at all. I stay away from it. I really do. You know, but this whole Christian nationalism and white Christian nationalism, it just no. For me, like just no. There's just no way, right? Um,
Here's some other things I've been hearing. Um, they're wanting to inspire or create black swan events to terrify the population up to. Um, they push people to only vote on election day if there is an election, and to keep repeating that the phrase "if there is an election," to cause chaos leading up to and during the entire election process. These not all tactics that our own intelligence forces have used in other things we're talking about here, as far as
of course,
disrupting the election process?
yeah, but I mean, it's ultimately terrorism, right? Domestic terrorism, right? So, and you have to remember where Flynn came out of. He was head of DIA for some time, Defense Intelligence Agency. Um, he might have been a general inside DIA. Maybe he maybe was not uh, the general in charge or the leader of DIA, but he was definitely inside DIA for some time. So he obviously has that knowledge on insurgencies and all this other stuff, and it's just like you really have to be careful about who you listen to. But if people have, you get people that have that same agenda, and you get them all together, then they're going to believe it. Either whether it be truthful or not truthful. If they want to believe it, they're going to believe it. You see,
Yeah.
and that's the bottom line. You know, they want what they want, and they want to go out and achieve it. So the bottom line is, who's going to stop them? That's it.
Um, I, I want to play. Let me bring this up. Let me bring this up so we get the audio. Make sure and get the audio of this. This is a segment from um, a Twitter space. I think they're called spaces. Um, that makes me sound like I'm ancient, but and I said Twitter and not X. So anyway, this is General Mike Flynn.
I'm in one of these camps because I've been saying this for a while. That I don't think we're going to see an election. I just have a funny feeling that they're going to come up with some scheme to say we've got a national emergency. We just can't have this. And I know that they're hoping that some element in this country goes nuts, so they gives them the country down. So your guess is as good as mine. We all want. I want a peaceful, fair November 5th election. That's what I want. That's all I want. I would, and I love it to be fair. But I
But
mean, that if I believe that every day, and that's the way I was going to believe, then I would be smoking something, and I'm not. The realist in me says that is not going to happen. And so what is going to happen? Is this going to be a contested election? I mean, let's see what happens with the damn conventions. I mean, we've already seen the Democrats have already said they're going to do a convention by Zoom. I mean, Jesus, that's another indicator. So they said that before today's verdict. They put out the Civil War documentary before today's verdict.
I just guess it's predictive programming, you know, especially with the Civil War. documentary, right?
Yeah.
I guess they're really trying to push that, I don't,
It wasn't a documentary.
the movie?
Yeah.
Oh, with the movie? Yeah. So
Yes. Yeah, I know, but they're playing it. That message that, oh, this Civil War thing was a documentary. This is what we're supposed to be doing. People that have never seen the movie, how are they going to know that it wasn't a documentary? Because let's face it, uh, not everybody in this country is one of the sharpest tools in the shed.
that's a very truthful statement, right? That's a very truthful statement. Um, they,
Dangerous rhetoric going on.
yeah, and people are idiots. You see, and all you need is a whole bunch of those idiots to fall in line with what they're saying, and something will jump off. You see, and that's what you don't want.
No, we do not want that.
You want that to be squashed immediately. Because all it takes is some retard, I mean, some slow person, to come out and sit there and say, "Hey, you know what?
Mentally
Yeah,
unstable, some mentally unstable person, and we've got a lot of them.
but you know what? They don't have to be mentally unstable. They could just do it just to do it, to get something started, you know,
Yeah.
and just come out and be like, hey, uh, we want, let's just start shooting people, and so we get a civil war started. You see, just anything to just create chaos in the United States. You see, and there's really no need for it. But hey, some people want it, and they're going to get the backing. Like I said, there are countries that want the United States to collapse.
Absolutely.
You know,
Yes,
so
Russia and China primarily. Russia, China, India, North Korea, Iran. There are country upon country that would love to see the United States collapse.
right,
By this time.
right. So and like I said, a lot of these people have never been on the battlefield, never been. A lot of these people have never been in fights before, but yet they're ready to come out. Yeah, let's go. Let's do this and let's do that. And I'm like, oh boy.
That's okay. That's a key point there, Chris. You and I are talking about what we've heard on I've been sent about, here's what they're saying on the telegraph channels or telegram or whatever it's called. Um, Here's what they're saying on those channels, and that my thread of hope is I'm holding on to the thread of hope that we are hearing a lot of keyboard warriors that this is a lot of emotional bluster that will, and I want to know if you agree with that, and kind of tying this in is the fact that people are still getting held accountable for January 6th, 2021, a deterrent.
Um, you have to count for all the people that have not been caught. Okay, but eventually they will be caught. I was just, matter of fact, just talking to one of my friends about that. He's like, a lot of these people are still getting locked up over that January 6th stuff, and a lot of people are, kind of like afraid. But what about those that are just like you said, crazy, mentally unstable, that just want to, you see, go out and cause trouble? So
And there are a lot of them posting those kind of things all over the internet.
right,
You know,
and
it's
right,
it's go like you said, it's go time. Um, Now, Civil War, and hopefully again it's all keyboard warrior bluster, because I doubt if any let alone, I'm certain a large percentage of them, like you've said, have never been on a battlefield. They have no idea what they're really talking about or what they're really asking for.
Exactly, and that's that could be um, that could actually work out in the favor of our government because let's just say that maybe the NG goes out and like I said, a lot of those guys have never been on the battlefield either. It's guys. Let me tell you right now, it's guys in their late 40s, mid 40s and up that really have that GWAT experience. When I talk about GWAT, it's a global war and terror experience. Okay, these are the guys that have actually spent time in like Afghanistan, Iraq, um, really on the battlefield. So they kind of know what's going on. But a lot of those guys will be like, you know what, I don't have anything to do with it. And I'm getting out of Dodge. You see?
Yeah.
Because we know, like you really don't want to deal with that. But it's only the people that that never been to combat and let's do this. And then when reality, okay, so these people are delusional. Okay, these people are talking about we want all this crazy stuff to happen. These are delusional people. Right? So delusion is going to meet with reality and violence. And when reality and violence meets that delusion, those delusional people, when they start losing their friends and possibly their loved ones, they're going to put down their weapons rather quickly and they're going to give up. Okay? I'm going to let you know that right now because it's not very pretty when you're there and one of the person next to you ends up getting shot in the head and there's brain matter on you. Right? I just have to.
I know.
I
Yeah,
just have to.
I know.
I just have to keep it. Hey, look, this is very real.
Right.
Okay.
We need to hear these things. We need to think about these things because someone is in a position. And I watched his speech today. I watched Trump's speech today from. I watched it out of curiosity and as a journalist, if you will, and I also watched it gruesomely enough in case someone tried to assassinate him, and thirdly, to see if he would call out the troops, so to speak.
Uh-huh.
And thankfully, neither one of those things happened.
Yeah,
From now on, every time he comes up, because I think the guy is the pressure of everything's weighing on the guy. He looked different today, and I think it's going to keep rattling through his head that he could go to jail. He really could go to jail. He is a 34-time convicted criminal felon.
So let me for each of those counts is what, 4 years?
Up to 4 years, I think. Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, that's 34 counts, and I don't think they give him the full amount. They might give him half that time, but even still, that's still a long time.
An attorney friend sent me something that one of their friends in New York had looked. Sentence was that the average sentence for a crime like this, as far as falsifying business records, etc., that prison time was indeed the norm, and it was 3 to 3.5 years.
Well, if you get 3 to 3.5 years on 34 counts, man, that's a long time. That's a long time.
He's getting off easy, but it is a long time, because it could be like 130, 137 or something.
Exactly. So for him, that's like a death sentence.
Yeah, that alone is. And this was the weakest case of the 4 that he's facing. This was the case that allegedly Jack Smith said, no, we don't want to go after this one. We want to go after um, insurrection case, the attempt to overthrow the government by overthrowing the election, delaying and denying certification, false electors, etc., etc., etc. And we want to go after the classified documents case, where you've got, past nuclear codes and attack plans and everything, on your bathroom floor. We want to go after those. I think that any honest legal advisor has to have informed Trump that, the seriousness of these two cases if he indeed does go to trial.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's like honestly, Barry, I really didn't think he was going to get convicted on this. I thought at best it was going to be a hung jury. I really did. But they convicted him on all counts.
Yeah, and all it would have taken was one person to make that hung jury.
Exactly.
And they had somebody in there that their primary news source, the only place they got their news was on X or Twitter, and Trump's own website or own social media network. So, and Trump kept saying, my juror. I really thought my juror would save me, was one of the reports he kept saying yesterday. So I don't know how much more how much more fair it could have been, but yet the party of law and order is a lot of them anyway, at least publicly. Outrage and gloom, despair, and agony on me kind of things.
Yeah. Like I said, I really didn't think he was going to get convicted. I'm totally honest.
Mm-hmm.
Totally honest. I really didn't. I was actually shocked.
I was kind of shocked too.
Because listen, no one gets convicted on all counts.
Do what? I'm sorry, I missed that.
Yeah, most people don't get convicted on all counts. It's 34 counts. You see, I can see maybe like 15 or 10 or even 20, but he got convicted on all 34 counts.
Yeah, beyond a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah.
And we don't know all the evidence that was presented or the behaviors, 100% certain, because you would have to think that unanimous convictions on 34 counts, there would have had to have been overwhelming evidence that couldn't be denied.
Exactly. So, all I can do now is appeal it. The only thing you can do.
And oh, wait a minute. Shoot, I didn't mean to do that. I hope that. I want to get back up here. Okay. Let me show this to everyone. Hop back over here for just a second. Hang with me if you will. Appreciate y'all being here again. Whether you're watching live or at your convenience, thanks for taking the time. Speaker of the House Mike Johnson calling for to step in to overturn the guilty verdict against Trump in New York hush money trial. He says, quote, I know many of them personally. I think they are deeply concerned about that, as we are. Your thoughts on that?
I don't think the Supreme Court can really help at this point, maybe this guy knows something I don't. You know, the state case. Like I said, it's going to the appeals court in the state, in the state of New York, and they have to decide. That's it.
The only thing I could see them doing is granting him total immunity from anything and everything.
Right, right. And I don't know if that, I don't know if that's going to happen. But like I think we discussed this earlier, that this case actually occurred before he became president. Is that correct?
Yes, it started during the campaign.
Okay, so he wasn't actually elected as president when it occurred. So I think that might be a little bit of a problem for him. You know. Now, if it didn't, like if it occurred while he was president and the Supreme Court that came back and said, "Oh, well, he's immune from all that," then you know, what can you do? Like, um, like I said, I- if something happens, um, this is like I said. Last time when I was on the show, I talked about a catalyst, right? Almost like that Fort Sumter moment. You call it Fort Sumter moment,
Right.
but but this could be. I don't know if this is going to be it, but we're getting closer and closer to that Fort Sumter moment. I really believe so, and it's not looking good. It really isn't. And like I said, I'm not really a pessimist or anything like that, but I can tell
Being a
you that.
realist.
Yeah, exactly. It's not looking good. So,
Chris, I want to share something else here. I talked about what the Speaker of the House did. This is Mike Lee, Senator Mike Lee, and he sent out a strongly worded message to the White House has made a mockery of the rule of law and fundamentally altered our politics and un-American. 8 different Republican senators, 8 out of 50, including down here little tiny Marco Rubio. This is political theater, in my opinion, and yet shouldn't our representatives be more focused on things that impact all, potentially impacts only one of us?
Of course, it's supposed to be for the people, right?
Yeah.
That's the way it's supposed to be. That's the way it's supposed to be. But obviously not, right?
So 8 senators backed this concept of sending this letter. A minority.
Okay.
The group is a minority. The Republican Party and Democrat parties are both minorities. It's all based on how you look at it from a political spectrum, where you're at, as far as how you wanting to divide up the people, because that's what politics is. Politics is how do you divide up the people. We have seen in other countries, especially in countries on the African continent, Chris, where minorities control the population and do so with an iron fist.
Yes, that's the truth. That's the truth, and you see what's going. I mean, I don't know if you heard about the attempted coup in the Congo. Are you familiar with that? Okay, so that was kind of like we talk about people that were how you phrased it, that the major or the minorities are sometimes in control of things.
Mm-hmm.
And this is, I think, one of those examples of where another minority group wanted to take over, because you saw how small that force was that was going up against, you know, the Congolese military and the national, or the guards, the palace guards, right? You saw
Right.
a small, like, you have to be an idiot to even try something like that. Okay, but that goes to show you how small it was, and it's somebody's agenda. You see, if it was really um, about the people would have joined in to overthrow the government, but it's not. That's somebody's agenda. That's so, like, it shows you it's a minority group member agenda to come in and take over that government. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So so
Yeah.
that's we talked about the majority, but then also um, there in Haiti, right? You have Guy Philippe and Cherizier. I think Cherizier with his group has got maybe like 5,000 um, soldiers or gang members. They call them gang members. I call them guerrillas. And then also Guy Philippe's got between 15 and 30,000 people supporting him. So that's like, if the numbers are right, let's call Guy Philippe's like 17,000. All right, and then plus, and then you got Cherizier's people, maybe another 5 or 6,000. So that's like what, 23, 24,000 soldiers. That's you know a sizable group against
Right.
what, against like maybe 1,000 or 2,000 troops coming in. International troops.
Right.
So and you see who has the support. So it's more or less that right there as a majority, the majority versus the minority. You see what I'm saying?
I do.
So
Chris, when I was an overachiever when I was in college, and I obtained what was known as um, an area major in social sciences, and
uh-huh.
I studied U.S. history, world history, geography, um, sociology, psychology, government, and economics. Seven different. There were a lot of key things that I studied, especially in history, and the points in history where the world history study um, overlaps with the American history study. And one of those points is World War II. And I have always wondered, you know, why didn't the people of Germany get out Hitler be, when Hitler came into power? And what would it feel like to be in a country that that was basically taken over by an authoritarian regime, um, when you have been free as free can be throughout your whole life? Um, I've wondered what those people felt and why they made the decisions they make. I'm concerned that we might be in a similar time frame if things fall certain ways.
Right. So are you seeing any parallels
A lot of
between?
parallels.
Okay, so that should be telling you right there. You know,
Yeah, I just don't like to tell people what to think, but me personally, yeah, I'm seeing a lot of parallels.
right. So I mean, history always repeats itself, right? It doesn't have to be in that same place, but it's almost like in lessons learned. Okay, these are things that
Hmm.
have been done before in the past that have been successful, and things that have been done in the past that haven't been successful. You see,
Right.
so like, what are you focusing on? Are you gonna focus on the stuff that's successful, or you know? or the stuff that hasn't been successful. And if you really need to focus on both. All right. So if you see something coming down the road, say, well, you know what, this has happened before in this country, and this is what they did. So it didn't go south. Okay. You need to follow that path. But and the same thing applies for a country that was successful. Are you gonna, are you gonna? You can use the same pattern, or saying, hey, look, they did this to become successful. We see this here in our country, and maybe we need to do this so we can be successful as well. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and that's how democracy was sold to a lot of countries. The United States
Right.
as an example of, law and order and public decency and on and on and on, that now's kind of on the verge of chaos.
Yeah, and that's what's getting ready to happen here very soon. So, maybe it's time to start mitigating things from the law enforcement side, right? Because that's ultimately who has to handle that, is our internal security, the police and uh, the Bureau, FBI. They're going to be the ones to handle that.
Right. The Leos, right?
Right.
The local law enforcement, the Leos, the state police, the National Guard, and then the federal law enforcement.
Right. So,
Those are our front line of defense.
well, for at least in the communities, right?
Yeah.
And of course, on the national level, the Bureau is. So, um, that's where we need to focus, because, like I said, where they are armed non-state actors, right? Organized gangs. And we focused on this about a gazillion times.
I
We
know.
talked about militias, right? That's what these are: armed, organized gangs. No different than what's going on right now in Haiti, right? Yeah, those are just armed non-state actors. The same thing that you're getting ready to see right here occur in America. Same deal. You see it in Afghanistan. You've seen it in Iraq, um, ISIS, AQ, whatever. They're all armed non-state actors. They're all organized gangs. They're all militias. That's what they are.
Just every organization that you've mentioned hides behind a a religious shield for criminal activities.
Right. They do. Here's the thing. Remember this: all terrorists and insurgents are criminals, but not all criminals are terrorists and insurgents. Right?
Good thing to remember. Let's close with, as always,
Hey, thank you for having me on the show, Barry.
we'll have you back next Friday night. As long as, hey, if something happens and you find yourself uh, not in country anymore, will we still be able to communicate?
Oh, all day, all day.
All
That's
right.
why
Okay, man. All right.
all right.
All right. I'm sure I'll talk to you before, but we'll be back on here on the channel next Friday night.
For sure, for sure.
All right. Thank you, man.
All right. Okay, I'll talk to you.
And thank all of you for clicking on. Shalom to True. Hello to Henry. Total hypocrisy. Okay, I'm not sure what that's about. Paid the $30, purchased Civil War. $30? I think it was like $8 for a matinee at the movie, at the cinema. Yes, it was. It was pure fiction, Fred. It was pure fiction. The movie had Texas and California going together. yeah, that um, I couldn't. There were a lot of things in there that um, that from a military, strategic, or geopolitical um, alignments. The alignment of California and Texas was, I think it might have even been intentionally done to remind everyone that, this is fiction, and this isn't really about war, about ideologies. This is about life and death. Um, yes, thank you, Chris. Hi, B. They weren't happy until they crucified Jesus for crimes he didn't commit. We'll just leave it on that note. And bless you all. And thank you all. And positive vibes. I'll be back on Monday night at 11 p.m. Eastern Time. If not before, if something big happens, I'll hop on. But otherwise, we will see you Monday night at 11 p.m. Hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell if you do subscribe or are a subscriber, so you'll know when we are on. Hit the like, hit the share if you so would. And again, thank you all for being here. Love you all like chocolate chip cookies. I mean that. A lot of times people find themselves yelling at each other, whether it be online or in person. A lot of times violence comes from that, and violence begets violence. So I'm gonna keep talking about this. At some point here in America, we're gonna have to learn again to stand back to back each other, because there are too many bigger things potentially coming our way. It's a dark world. Love y'all. Try to be a light. Thanks for tuning in and clicking on. See you next time.